Welcome everyone to the Health In Show. This is an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. I am your host, founder of Homeopathy World Community's social network for professional homeopaths. Thank you to all returning viewers and listeners and for sending out waves of awareness and asking your friends to join us on the show. This is part 2 of the series on migraines. Last week we did the top 10 reasons for migraines in women, and today it's going to be the top 10 reasons for migraines in men. And I hope we have a lot of groupies out there today waiting patiently because we had some delays, technical delays, calling into Mumbai and to New Delhi. I understand they're in the monsoon season and it's overcast, probably raining, and very humid and hot. Welcome to Dr. Deepak Sharma and also our special guest today, Dr. Ajay Yadav, or Ajay, you'll help me with the pronunciation, Ajay Yadav from Mumbai. And we were having some crackling sound. Hopefully that's going to be taken care of. Okay, keep going. Okay,
yes.
Just get a hello in there so we hear your sound.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Deepak Sharma from India as the regular co-host of Health In Show, and we will introduce a new candidate to today's Dr. Ajay Yadav from Mumbai. Dr. Ajay Yadav, hello.
Let's see.
Hello. It's really good to see HWC after a long time. Devi, especially you, and Deepak, of course, you.
Okay, it sounds like he's calling in from a war-torn area, part of the world, with all this crackling sound in the background. Hopefully we'll be able to hear you over top of that. And we also have a caller coming in. Who is that? Welcome. Who's calling in from where?
From New York.
New York, New York. Okay, for those folks who are just there watching the show, it is not necessary to listen by calling in. You can get onto the chat area and talk and ask questions and comments. If you call in, we're expecting you to have a conversation with us. So just refresh your page if you're watching an old show. And we're on the new show for June 11th, 2012. Dr. Ajay Yadav is practicing a physician, a young graduate who acquired his diploma in cosmetology, diploma in skin anesthetician, and trichology for scalp and hair from the Tulip Institute. He is affiliated with the Gold Coast University of Australia and finished his certificate of venereal disease, skin disease, child health from Mumbai University. He also has a diploma in naturopathy and is a member of Anti-Aging Medicine Academy of India and an honorary homeopathic physician at Prakash Charities, and many, many other affiliations, including the Liga Medicorum Homeopathica Internationalis, Liga, which is, and they have an annual conference of homeopathic MDs every year in a different location. Last year it was in India. And so we're welcoming him to the show because he has quite a bit of knowledge about it. And of course we have Dr. Deepak Sharma, who is our co-host, who specializes in the practice of community medicine. So, migraines is a very severe, debilitating illness for people, and it puts thousands of people, if not millions of people, out of work sometime during the year, during their lifetime. As a matter of fact, about 90% of us get a headache at least once a year. But this is a different type of a headache. Who's calling in, please? We have a caller? Okay, we're going to keep going. Also, I tried to find something a little bit lighthearted to talk about migraine to get us started, and there was only one thing on the entire internet, and that was this story, which probably many of you have heard. But let's start us off with this. A man goes to the doctor and complains that no medicine helps his migraines. When I have a migraine, says the doctor, I go home and soak in a hot tub, hot bath. Then I have my wife sponge me off with the hottest water I can stand, especially around the forehead. Then I take her to the bedroom, and even if my head is killing me, we have sex. Almost immediately, the headache is gone. Try it and come back in 6 weeks. Well, 6 weeks later, the patient returned to the doctor with a big grin. It worked, he exclaims. I've had migraines for years, and no one's ever helped me before. Glad to help, says the doctor. By the way, said the patient, you have a really nice house. Amnon got it right away. Okay, so that's, you know what, that one joke is literally littered all over the internet. That's the only thing that was kind of humorous about migraines. They are a serious neurological disease like epilepsy, and we welcome you to call in and chat and tell your experience, your stories, as we go through the top 10 reasons that men get migraines. Dr. Ajay, do you have an introduction for us about this topic?
Yes, absolutely. It's as I can say, all over the world, there are migraine is one kind of disease which is, spreading day by day. What people think about the headache and migraine, they are two different things. Nowadays, headache, they take it as a day-to-day symptom, or it is a symptom which is occurring every day. But if the patient starts noticing the kind of pain and the kind of periodic attack, we can able to differentiate between two things. Headache and migraine, they are two different things. And another thing is that
What are we going to do?
Migraine very nicely, treatable condition, whereas the other system of the medicine, it is very difficult to take result over the migraine. And this is what exactly I had experienced in my practice last 4 or 5 years. Migraine is absolutely treatable with the help of homeopathy.
Okay.
And it is like homeopathy, it's great and better.
Okay, so you're saying that migraine is absolutely treatable using homeopathic care. And we know that 25% of women and 8% of men get migraines sometime in their lifetime.
Right.
So, and just as the story said, most people have tried everything for migraines. And next week we'll talk about all the drugs. But tell us, what are the top 10 reasons for, or triggers for men?
See, there are few things, but generally if you just mention the top 10, there are so many things, but we are just seeing the first 10 things. First of foremost, I just like to talk much more that, we are living in the world which is, progressing, and day by day we are people who have a lot of ambition involved in a lot more activity. So first foremost, I would like to say a lot of sports injuries in the youngsters. Okay.
Dr. Deepak.
Now,
Dr. Deepak.
Yeah. Sports injuries. Yeah.
Right. Tell us a little bit about this and what people should notice and how what immediate emergency care can be done.
See, it is like for a homeopath, whenever any patient who is coming again and again and he's seeking that I'm having a headache again and again, which is coming, after 2 days, 3 days time, we need to see back, how was his activity, how much he's involved in the sport, have he ever fallen down during the playing those sports? Because the majority of the time, whenever this they've fallen down towards a head or any concussion which is, taking part over the head, it can be triggers of migraine. And this is one of the very important facts which we generally physicians missed out.
Okay, so it's a recurring headache that keeps coming back. So we understand that the individual has become injured, and also there is a huge blog and a lot of promotional information in the media about concussions in high schoolers, in college, in
Yeah.
semi-pro, in pro, both football and other kinds of sports, where they're repeatedly knocked in the head, and this causes internal neurological damage to their brain, which can trigger these kinds of severe migraine headaches. And we do, as homeopaths, have remedies for kinds of trauma. But of course, I think personally, in my own opinion, I think that the sports industry needs to take a close look at what is going on in their field, that they can harm so many individuals. And of course, their mental capacity also decreases.
Yeah, if you just see nowadays, we are having a rugby, football. You know, there is adrenaline running in the each and every individual. So it is, you know, the more and more severe concussion, there is always a severe, you know, chances of the getting migraine, that pain back and back. One thing I want to share all this listener, and please listen it very carefully because it's a very much important point, that if a person, he should notice his headache each and every day, and he can get a one small diary.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to.
Whenever he's getting headache, right up.
You know, I think that we need to switch over to Dr. Deepak.
Sorry?
Because we're not able to hear you. And so we're going to have to switch over to Dr. Deepak. Dr. Deepak, can you help us out with the emergency care, acute care, immediately on site, and then long term when you have a head injury from sports?
Yes, we are having so much solution with the homeopathy in the emergencies, like the natrum self, like the arnica, like belladonna, like calendula, and the theme of the medicines are when we had a concussion in the brain, the natrum self is working very well. Arnica is also good, but arnica should not be used when the head injury is with the bleeding. There is no use of arnica in the case of bleeding. So be cautious before thinking about the arnica in a head injury with the bleeding. For the concussion, natrum self is always good, always.
Okay, and what about potency and repeating this dose, whether it
Yes.
is arnica, belladonna, natrum sulf? Did you name another one?
Yes, basically we are using in the 200 potencies and
Okay.
waiting for the symptoms or the reflex. When I was studying our BHMS course, and Bachelor of Homeopathic Medicine and Surgery, and with this surgeon, and I got a case of head injury and just gave a natrum salt 200, one dose, after an hour second dose, after an hour third dose, and after a few minutes of the third dose, the patient is got a severe vomiting of the blood. The surgeon is asked me about that, what was you given, and in the doses. I just told about the natrum self, and this was the reflex of the patient for the completeness of symptom. It will cure his all injuries, and it will heal the injuries very well. The patient lives with no symptoms. The vomiting are due to the reaction of the natrum cell, so that the internal bleeding or the clotting of the bleeding are expelled out without any surgery. That was the effect of natrum self, and I did uh, prescribe many times natrum self in the concussion of head injury with a 200 potency. I am also using belladonna 200 and calendula in the 30 C potency or in the mother tincture.
Okay, this is very interesting to use calendula, which we usually think as something that we apply to broken skin or wounds on the skin, both internally and externally. how is it, do you feel that the calendula is helpful?
Calendula is basically is used into the healing process or to initiate the healing process of the injury, and it will uh, heal the epidermis and dermis layer very quickly. It is also act like as a betadine on the allopathy. We are using here the ointments of the calendula in the injuries and also give internally to initiate to promote the vital force of the body. So calendula is always good in any type of injury.
Okay. So it's a gentle way of healing. And Dr. Kathitha, who is on the chat, has mentioned that the natrum sulph has been used for long-standing injuries, which means even if you had an injury as a child and you're getting headaches as an adult, that natrum sulph can come in and clear that off for you if it is an appropriate matching energy remedy. Also, I'm going to put on the chat some resources to all arnica articles that we have on Homeopathy World Community. Okay.
Yes. But I am not suggesting that you are use the too long doses of the natrum sulph.
Okay.
You are using when it will require. You just give a dose, and if the patient is feeling very well, or if he develop the symptoms again after 6 months, then you again repeat the natrum sulph, but do not give or do not prescribe in the regular basis.
Okay, so Dr. Ajay?
Yeah, the natrum sulph is a very important that the aggravation which is going to take place aggravated by the noise and during menses. And the patient always feels better whenever he is closing his eyes or the dark room. And always better by the woman. That is a one very strong indication of the natrum sulph, I see.
Okay, so I think that you were telling us that the natrum sulph patient would feel better in a dark room and they are disturbed by noise.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And we're going to, I think, move on to the number 2 because we want to get through all 10 of these reasons today. So, Dr. Deepak, what do we have for the second reason for men? Yes. And as we're talking, we're also answering questions on the chat. So for those who want to take a look at that, we had one question from Julie about withdrawal from coffee and getting headaches. I do not think that those headaches are the exact same thing as a severe migraine. And Dr. Kavitha has recommended also the calendula for withdrawal symptoms. There's probably Avena sativa and Nux vomica for withdrawal symptoms. But it's just realize that, one, if you have a severe case of migraines, you need to see a physician and get proper care, making sure that the management of your remedies is going properly rather than self-prescribing. Okay? And so if you have anything to add to that coffee withdrawal, any of the doctors, and then we'll move on to the number 2.
Yes. The number 2, the most common reason is the ambition. I'm just showing the slide by ambition. In the males, ambitions are the very common cause for the men.
It's sort of like a motivating reason for a man to get ahead in this world. You want to have ambition.
Yes. Basically, we are telling about the males who are workaholic. They more sitting at the desk all the day under the lights and body tight and tense can bring upon himself regular headaches, especially when a deadline looms near. Each male, those are working very hardly or from morning to till midnight. They are having more and more headaches due to the this bad lifestyle or the ambitions. You can say the ambitions, or I can say the bad lifestyle.
What
So
did he say?
I am
Ambitious
said
or
the
what?
bad lifestyle.
Bad lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay. And basically, the importance of regular breaks from the desk to stretch, do a few minutes of paper power yoga, closing the eyes to medicine and deep breath cannot stress enough. Now, I am just telling about the one thing for those males, and it's a suggestion. He can do a yogic exercise like he just close his eye between a gap of sentence or between a sentence having the comma. He just close the eye for a second and just reopen it. That may be helpful for the migraine to did not trigger the migraine.
I think we should do
Also,
this right now. I think we should
yes,
all take a few seconds to
yes,
just
yes,
breathe in deeply and breathe out. Just release
yes.
stress, relax
I
your
did.
shoulders, just relax because this we're having such a rough time with the show. It can, this is the kind of thing that can trigger stress. So I think we should
Yes,
all close
Yeah, I
our
need something.
take your
yes.
remedy.
I did it always, so that's why my eyes are always small.
We need to close our eyes for a moment and go within and feel quiet and peace and let the outside world run around and do whatever it does and just take that moment for yourself so you can recoup your strength and feel better.
Yes, and when we have such type of patient, I always thought about the Nux vomica, the purely a ambitious medicine, and for the especially for the males. And I got many type of problem for those males who are very ambitious. I have a patient in UX in Phoenix. His name is
No,
Gunit
no,
Kurana.
no, no name.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay. Sorry.
It's not.
Sorry. So, and
Celebrate.
he's
Oh,
just like a Nux vomica personality. He's a alcoholic. He's worked for a long hours. He's always sitting on the laptop in his lap and working for many hours. I don't know how he is doing, and Nux vomica always helps him, always.
well, we need to. How do we change the person's lifestyle so they don't need to take this remedy, or is it only like when there are deadlines and you must do overtime?
Yes. So I did always said that this is a bad lifestyle, not a ambitious, because we are having the irregular lifestyle and then we have a disease. Something is different. Disturbing is a disease.
So there are the person has to want to change their life in order to relieve their stress and then relieve their migraines. There are many
Definitely.
other remedies that we have not mentioned specifically for this ambitious personality, but I think we need to move on to number 3.
Yes. And then number 3 is the vacations.
Now,
Yeah,
why would a
on
why
the
would a
vacation.
why would a vacation cause you a headache?
I'm getting always a headache when we get a vacations because my wife says, yeah, we will go for a week for the vacations. It may always trigger a headache. This is a joke, but many things. But
Dr. Sharma, I heard something yesterday. They said that we should let the women run the world because
Okay.
we will never have any more wars.
Yes,
Say we'll never have a moment of peace, but we will never have wars.
Okay,
yes.
you're probably
Okay.
right. We won't let
So
you men off the hook no matter what.
vacations may cause the migraine. We are not, I want to say one thing to the listeners that we are not we are not telling the reasons on the statistical basis. We are just telling about the common reasons. This is not a statistical data, or this never be collected by any study. It is a common thoughts, and we are just telling about the common things. And we are also suggest to all males that excitement, anticipation, letting your guard down, and in these cases, coffea, gelsemium, veratrum album are always helpful.
Okay,
And
so
one more remedy, the wonderful work, have a wonderful work, that is Argentum nitricum.
Argentum nitricum?
Nitricum.
Okay, so I think we talked about that quite a bit at last week's show for women who needed that remedy. And it's very interesting, Julie, who's listening in, that the remedy coffee is a remedy also for headaches and migraines, because it's a stimulant. It has the active ingredient of caffeine, but the homeopathic potentized remedy of coffea is well known for excessive joy over, like the pick door number 1 or door number 2 or door number 3, and they pick number 3 and they win, and then they have a heart attack and they die because it's just too much excitement. And so their mind is constantly turning and thinking at night. They can't get to sleep and they could get a headache. So coffee is a remedy for headaches. And now we're going to move on to reason number 4.
Yes. The reason number 4 is same as in the female. Basically the fast and rich food. Basically, I told you in the last show that the basic reason, the theory of the migraine is irritable is the vasodilation and vasoconstriction, and the fast food or a rich food in the spices and the spices rich food or always stimulate your circulation, and it may cause the vasodilation in the sudden mode or can cause a vasoconstriction in a different area, and it always be triggered. And I always suggested that if you take a fast food, then just take a plain glass of water just 10 minutes before you are taking the fast food. It never hurts. This is a formula from my professor I got. When you think that it is a bad food and it can hurt me, then always take a glass of plain water before you take a fast food. This is a quite good formula to get rid of.
Have you ever tested that trick? Have you?
Yes. Or I always did. When I go anytime to a party, I always take a sip of 1 glass water, and it never complicates the situation.
Well, I think that's a placebo.
Yes, it's a placebo.
It's a placebo. I think you're trying to dilute all of that.
Or you can call
chocolates,
the energy water.
but if it works, good. When you're tempted with chocolate chips and cookies and processed meats and all these different things, high fat, high sugar, and you are sensitive to these types of triggers, then you have to make the choice for yourself what you're going to do. Are you going to have the result of the headache, or are you going to change your diet, which overall for your general health and well-being is probably much better for you to choose the carrot sticks and the celery sticks at the party, and maybe a sandwich or something that does not cause you to go home and hold your head. So those are the rich foods, and we talked a lot about it on the last show. Go back and listen to how the rapid secretion of insulin lowers the blood sugar levels and causes the vasoconstriction. Did we have remedies, did we mention, for this?
Yes, definitely. Again, Nux vomica, pulsatilla, robinia are the best medicine.
Add one more into that, with the natrum salt will be one of the best remedies.
Natrum salt for the overeating and rich food?
Whenever you are having any gastric disturbance, GI trouble, and also there is the liver metabolism which goes down. So I always see that the natrum salt, they always come up with a very good results.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajay, for chiming in. I know we're having a difficult connection. Let's move to number 5.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. And the next reason is eye strain. It is eye strain. And in the eye strain, these are for those males or for long using sitting in front of laptops and home computers without blinding and bathing the eye in fluid can trigger headaches. We are just talk about the ambition also. Eye strain is often associated with headache. Squinting your eyes for an extended period of time can impact the nerve in your head and trigger headaches. If you are working on a computer, try using an anti-glare screen or ask your doctor for an anti-glare prescription for your glasses. And as I told, that the best thing is you just close your eyes frequently when you are using your laptops or any computer or while you are reading. Always close your eyes very frequently and very slowly close and slowly open it. It will be best exercise for the eyes. And again, the homeopathic remedy for this situation is Ruta. Ruta is always doing wonder in the eye strain.
Thank you. And besides closing your eyes, there's a technique in yoga called palming, where you rub your hands together and get them warm, and you place them over your eyes and get that dark space and just breathe deeply and slowly so you can palm your eyes also. That's a good technique, and I myself am at the age where I wear bifocals, which I don't really like to wear glasses at all, but I went to the doctor and got one pair of glasses specifically for the distance away from my computer screen. Thus, if I'm sitting at the computer, I just put those one glasses on if you're at that stage. But you know, your eyes are constantly changing, and you need to go and get your eyes rechecked frequently to see if there are any differences in your vision and whether your migraines are due to vision problems. Of course, we know many of the migraines begin with an aura, so we can see how it could be reflected in the tension within our eyes. And if you're squinting all the time, you know that there's going to be muscle tension, just like for the women who are wearing the hairdos that are going to cause them tension in their face and around their scalp and head.
Yes. One good exercise. Yes.
Come very close to the eye. It's a euphrasia.
Euphrasia as well. So I never think about euphrasia for a migraine, but it can certainly assist in the eyes and
That's the exact to help it up.
That's a great idea, especially if you have watery eyes that are tearing.
Yes, there is one good exercise, Debbie, and I always told to my patient that you just close your eyes and take your finger and close your eyes, or just moving around simultaneously for the both eyes.
Right.
Do it one time, at least in a day. It will always helpful to retain your capacity of the eye. I always told to every patient who are suffering from the eye problem, that is really a good yogic exercise.
And also, it is very natural when people have strain in their eyes to just their hands automatically go up and begin rubbing. One other thing before we move to the next one is releasing that tension by looking out in the distance. Now, this is another one that I used to teach when I taught Qigong, is that your focus is always shifting. So if you're looking at a computer screen that is close up to you, if you would turn and face a window and look out into the horizon, out into the distance, this will also relieve some of the tension and strain in the eye muscles. Okay, number 6.
Yes, and the number 6 is sleep pattern.
Maybe we'll finish this next show.
See, sleep pattern.
Yeah.
When we are talking about sleep pattern, and the sleep pattern is always important to us when we are talking about the basic anatomy of the body. And when we are in the supine position and lying down in the supine position, the head is upward, abdomen is upward, and lying straight. The gap between the thoracic spine and the head is always be 1 or 1.2 inch. So always take a pillow is a, is of a thickness of 1.5 inch, not more than this or not less than this. The not using the pillow is always triggers the cervical spondylitis or the migraine. When you are
I just like to share that it is generally called a very sick or the tired headache. Very rare medicine which the people generally give in the homeopath. It's a medicine called epiphagus. It's a fatigue from the work, didn't get a sleep properly. That is one drug. The drug called epiphagus, Epiphagus.
yes, and we are also talking about the sleep pattern. There's too much sleep or the lack of sleep, or always trigger the discomfort in the neck or in the head. It always be many times the migraine will initiate from the neck region, and the getting less than 7 hours of sleep a night can trigger a headache. Your body needs at least 7 hours of sleep to function. Getting less than 7 hours of sleep in night can spark headache, but getting more than 11 hours of sleep can have the same effect. 8 to 10 hours of respective sleep a night is ideal sleep. And again, the medicine is Nux vomica, coffea, Rustox for a bad pattern of the sleep, bad posture of the sleep. And I always think about the Rustox and Brainia. Brainia is also doing wonder when we have a right-sided of headache after the wrong posture of the sleep.
Okay, so covering sleep patterns, the body posture, the alignment of the spine so that it is even and not going to crunch any of the nerves if we don't have our pillow in the proper position. And then we can see how the sleep pattern could easily be related to the vacations. So if you think I'm going to go on a vacation and I'm just going to sleep, and you're going to end up with a headache because you've gotten too much sleep and it's changed your regular sleeping pattern. So you do want to create a good sleeping pattern. And maybe on another show, we'll do all about creating an environment for sleep that is enhancing to you and removing stimulation. Let's move to number 7. We have about less than 15 minutes left to the show, although we did start late. Okay. Okay, the next one.
The next one is smoke.
Which is the smoking.
Smoking or is always a bad habit.
You add into the two sections like smoking, tobacco, and everything. It's a. I personally believe that it is the main reason of the migraine triggering day-to-day life today. You can add into 2 points. It's like every day people want to become a more and more stylish. Smoking has now become for a teenage group it is an addiction. And this is how I prefer, always that tobacco intake, whether it's a form of the smoke, whether it's a form of the anything, it's become a very strong cause for the migraine.
Okay, so smoking, whether it is taking a cigar, a cigarette, inhaling, chewing tobacco, whatever form of smoking that you have, because it's going to initiate that, especially in a sensitive person again. Just imagine, I think we mentioned this on the last show, if you're walking through a field of tobacco, you can be very much affected by the nicotine in those tobacco leaves, and you can come down with the sensation of what you would call like seasickness. Spinning, you see the cartoons of the person who, or the little cartoon character that tries the first smoke a cigarette and they get the twirling and they're floating up in the air and they're just like out of it and their eyes are going like in twirly cues, and you're and nauseous and vomiting, and you're going to the bathroom, you're really not doing well if you're in contact with that tobacco chemicals. So smoking is definitely going to be one. And you can imagine that high, strung, tense, ambitious person is holding a coffee in his hand, chugging that all day long to keep up and keep working at his desk, smoking the cigarettes because they're they're nervous. They're nervous. So you've got the whole component. A man who's going to get who might have a tendency toward a migraine.
I come across the one of the very important remedy I'd seen, the very frequent tobacco intaker. One is the tobacco. It's absolutely very fantastic in the cases of the migraine. Another very good medicine, Cocculus indicus. A very typical sickness kind of the headache, and due to overuse of the tobacco and all. The sickness which is absolutely they are going to felt in the stomach.
A sickness, and okay. There's also another thing that can come into play, and that is sometimes.
And so,
go ahead.
As they go on, the sickness, actually the populace, their headache, which generally they feel whenever they are riding in the bus or anything, the typical kind of the sick headache they are getting it.
Right, we call this a sick headache. A sick headache from. Well, we also can have environmental smoke as well. Pollution is a very, very big thing worldwide. If you're living near any kind of plants that are, or in a city that is got fumes coming out of the back of the automobiles and the trucks and the cars, you might end up getting environmental toxicity and sick headaches this way. And therefore, one of the remedies, and I don't know whether you all agree, doctors, is silicea or silica, which we often use for people who have been debilitated with sort of these types of toxins. Do you agree with that, Dr. Deepak and Dr. Ajay?
Yes, silicea. Definitely. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, silicea is really good, and acid itself is also did wonder.
Okay, and I'm going to repeat again. Dr. Ajay informed me that for the smoke headaches we have tobacco, or homeopathic tobacco, and homeopathic cocculus are two other remedies. Okay.
And they are just absolutely the kind of the headache. We call it a sick headache.
Okay, so is the sick headache the same as the migraine, and just people call it a different name?
Yes. Previously, I was just talking about the every patient who is noticing headache, they should always maintain one headache diary. They should mention it when it is happening. If they mention the exact timing or any kind of evening, morning, or we can able to differentiate between the two things, either whether it's a headache or whether it's a migraine. That's a very important for any homeopathic physician to understand this thing.
I'm so sorry that our sound internet is not perfect connection, and if you give me the information, I'll put it on the blog, and the folks who are listening can check in the blog afterwards. Or you can type right in the chat, and we can hear and we can read right off there and get a clear information from you. We're going to move to number 8.
Yes, the number 8 is listening to music.
Listening to music can cause you a headache?
Yes, definitely.
How is that?
More of the males. I had one case that he is complaining that I did not listen in music even a single line. I asked him that how it is possible that you are not listening the music. So he said, doctor, when I was in age of 12, I got a very loud sound in a party, and then after that I had a fear of the voice also, and fear of getting died from the listening of music. That was a peculiar symptom, and the medicine was aconite.
Aconite, excellent
Yeah.
trauma remedy. Aconite for the probably loud sound in the eardrum, which could be quite a shock to the system. So have you ever gone down the street and you're
Yes.
in your quiet car just getting through traffic and somebody pulls up next to you? Boom. Yeah, Amnan's doing it. And your
Yes.
car,
Yes.
my heart is literally pumping from this person who has every decibel speaker blasting. And I don't know how the person gets out of their car without moving their body. They have to have lost hearing. So, I mean, in addition to having a migraine, giving somebody else a migraine, or giving your wife a migraine, this loud music, I guess it's more common maybe in teenagers or, I don't know, any generation, I guess,
Yes.
who's into this.
Definitely, the youngsters are more suffer from this. Basically, they are go to a very loud sound in a dance room or a dance club, and they always had a headache on the next day,
On the
and
next
the
day.
maximum and many times the medicines are again arnica and natramcel. It is like a sport injury. Your small vessels or your small arteries are always hurt by them, but you just think that we are enjoying, but your arteries or vessels are not enjoying in the loud sound.
Yes, so we have these
The
very.
mo-
Go ahead, Dr. Ajay.
Yeah, this is, I think, the noise pollution. It is not only the youngster who they are enjoying the music, but it is much more related to the lot of construction work which is going each and everybody's around. There are a lot of machineries and factories which are just going on and on and on. So this is really creating a lot of problems, not only with the teenagers, but the human also, the men around the working areas. It is giving a lot of headache, and the one of the especially is happening again and again. Again, which triggers the migraine a lot. So that is why noise I always feel, and it is one of the most important cause to getting a migraine.
Absolutely. Men who are on construction sites and using industrial type equipment have percussive to their entire body trauma and to their brain. It's almost like shaken brain syndrome, where their brain is constantly getting a pounding. And so you can imagine that they might also end up getting workers' compensation for migraines. Okay, and we have another one, number 9.
Yes, and the number 9 is military services.
Oh, I wanted to add.
That
wanted to add one more to the music, the loud music. This is
Yes.
my own personal thing, but
Hmm.
when you go into the movie theater, is the sound of the movie theater like blasting? I am very, very sensitive to that noise, and if you ever see me stuffing cotton in my ears, you'll know why. but
Yes.
but I'm serious. They do make it loud. Okay, number 9.
Number 9 is military services.
Okay.
I think this is a profession. In the initial phase, they always feel a headache. When everyone is to a military, they always had a headache in the initial phase of the training,
I
and
think it's,
from the
it
battle
is,
wounds,
you can take
trauma.
nominally right from the 1 to 9, noise, smoke, and everything. You can add it into the services.
I don't know what he said. Okay, so we have these. It's almost as if almost all of these migraines are coming. A lot of them are coming from some sort of a trauma, a shock, a constant pounding, a constant stimulation to the brain, to the body, to the head. And that's why we see a complex of homeopathic remedies that keep rising to the top when we see aconite, arnica, natrum sulph, belladonna, all of these. So it's a really great idea for folks out there to learn these remedies and understand when they come in useful and how to differentiate between one or the other of them so that you know what to do if your kid comes in from a ball game and they come down with a headache that night. What's going on with them? What happened at that sports game? Or your loved one comes home from the army, from being out at war, being deployed. What do you do when they have trauma, they have shock, they have headaches, they have nightmares? What kinds of things, what kind of remedies can you think about that would be helpful? You know, and if you have a poor lifestyle, and number 10, we're going to move to, well, let's finish up military service. We know shelling of bombs, and it's all of this is really loud noise. And so you can see how this type of career for men is going to be a trigger. Let's go ahead with number 10. We're just about to the end of today's show.
Number 10 is alcohol. I think many of the males are suffering with this alcohol disturbances. The alcohol in the excess is always do in everything disturbance in every system of the body. In India, a study says that the 80 ml of the alcohol is normal thing every day, but what kind of alcohol you are taking, it matters.
One of the best remedies I had seen the people who are getting a headache after long use of alcohol, or you can also call it as American sick headache. It's a calibicrom, is one of the best remedies. So if after a big party, next day you are coming up with a headache, every time you are drinking and headache, one of the very important remedies is a calibicrom.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like Americans are not the only ones who have a problem with alcohol abuse. This is all over in India as well, and other countries as well as America. Alcoholism is on the rise, and younger people are drinking.
I would like to mention one thing. It is not a single country which is, because it is given by a saint, he had mentioned in his book. So it is a type of headache, it's a type of headache.
A type of headache for people specifically who are imbibing in alcohol, and then you have a specific remedy for this besides withdrawal and cleaning them out? Or is this a person who is just having alcohol once in a while? Or is this a person who is having alcohol all the time?
Generally what happens, the people, they generally work very long hours, full weekends, and on the Saturday night, generally they just go around and have a 1-2 beer, all the alcohol.
Okay.
So, Saturday it will be a lot more drinking. Sunday is going to give you a headache, and this is keep coming back and again. So this is where exactly the calibicrom is a one medicine, where I'd seen the very good result. Another is a nux vomica.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Dr. Deepak, did you want to add to that?
Yes, but I appreciate Dr. Ajay and agree with the nux vomica. Nux vomica is really good medicine for the epigastric or the stomach upset.
And it targets the liver, right?
Or it always helps in the anxiety. It always helps in the acidity. It always helps to antidote the allopathic medicine. It always helps in the alcoholic disturbance. Nux vomica is always better. And we are going to the last and the most common cause, the pain medicine.
Okay. Hold it up so we see you.
Yes.
Okay, so pain medicine is going to trigger headaches in some people. People already must be having a problem. If they're taking pain medicine, they must have a headache to begin with. So what's that all about?
I always say this kind of the people, a kind of nervous headache. Because what happened, people who are getting headache, he used to, he would not like that pain, and he
Okay, they have nervous headaches.
those painkillers.
Okay, we're losing sound to you, Dr. Ajay. Yeah, people do have problems to begin with, and the problem is that when you take a drug, you can have what's called rebound. Anybody who has ever taken antihistamines or he says that the monsoon rains are really bad, so we're hearing the water just crashing down over there. And if you've ever taken antihistamines to open up your sinuses, and this is a point we didn't even mention on any of the shows, that sometimes or often people are diagnosed with sinus headaches when they're really migraines, or vice versa. And when a person tries to open up their sinuses so that they can breathe from congestion and they keep taking it, they can have the rebound effect. And there are other kinds of drugs that you can have the rebound effect, which it comes back worse, harder, more intense, maybe more frequently, and you cannot get rid of this type of migraine. So be careful about the medications that you're taking. I think that we've covered most of the triggers that we could think of. And by the way, Dr. Ajay, he mentioned when taking the alcohol, it was not the people who were taking alcohol constantly on a regular basis, but were the weekend drinkers, the people who would have a regular life, go to school, go to work, do their thing, and then party on the weekend. And that's when they would get their migraines. So we didn't even mention today about periodicity, that these migraines come in cycles. Some people get them once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month, and then they last anywhere from a few hours to 2 or 3 days. And I did mention that there is a great loss of work. So this affects the economy if we cannot get people on the right track to better health by better lifestyle, understanding what their triggers are, knowing what they can do to relieve these symptoms. And I was asking Dr. Deepak earlier about when we talked about women have hormonal problems, and the hormonal problems could trigger headaches. And for men, I said, what about menopause?
Yes.
Menopause. Well, and he answered. What do you say, Dr. Deepak?
Yes, this is a really a good thought. There are no study available on that. We are just initiating the cause of the migraine, that is menopause. When the male is not satisfied with the sex during his intercourse, or he crossed the age to do the sex, it may always trigger a headache. I think if or if he cannot satisfy the partner or doing the sex also,
And
it may be possible. There is no data available anywhere, but it may initiate.
right. So
It also come around, stress headache. There is a one
Stress
pattern
headache.
which is, this pattern is there in, a lot of people I've seen, they're coming up with a migraine complaint after the sexual incomplete, or you can say there is a lot of sexual activity, or over sexual activity. It can also trigger a lot of headaches. As we just open our repertory, there are so many number of the rubrics I have mentioned. And I've seen in my practice also, although sometimes this is a very personal question, but it's a very important question for the patient.
So we save the best for last. And if you really want to find out what's going on with you and your body and your headache and these severe migraines, you're going to have to speak to a professional homeopath, your physician, for them to realize what the core of your triggers are and how you express your migraine, because remember, each person is an individual. Whether your migraine begins with an aura or has a period of, I've even been reading something about silent migraine. I'm not exactly sure what those are. Whether your triggers are noise or injury, your career, which means making many lifestyle changes. I really want to thank everyone for hanging in with us today. We've had a rough time with the monsoons raining on our
Yes,
parade.
just one talk. Debbie, sorry for the interruption, but we got a nice title in the chat that Dr. Yovni said the main oppose is medically termed as andropause.
That's right.
That's right. This is really good. I got the term.
Well, all those folks who are out there and waving hello, thank you from Fairy Mom. Anyone who has been tweeting and putting it on Facebook, sharing it on your emails, letting people know that we have all of these archived. I want to thank Amnon for doing his best in the studio to get us up and running in our sound across covering the globe. I also want to congratulate Amnon on his top show on Bamboozler. He is number 9 out of how many thousands?
I have no idea.
Many thousands of people out there who are producing shows, but if you check it out, Amnon is in the top 10 of all shows being watched and listened to, and we can get there too with your help.
Yeah. Congratulations from all of us.
Yes, and please do stay dry, Dr. Ajay, and Deepak, do you have the monsoon in your location there?
No, not right now.
Okay.
It will be coming after 15.
Okay, so tune in next time, and I also want to mention that Dr. Adil.
There is a website.
Yes. We have Blog Talk Radio on Wednesday morning with Dr. Adil. I'm sorry, I can't hear him. And he also, thank God, his show on Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. in Eastern Time, USA. We've been talking about heart health and going through all of the chest rubrics in cancer repertory, learning so much about his experience, life experience, asking questions and answering them. He came up in the top 3rd page of all of Blog Talk Radio shows. So this is really excellent news for broadcasting homeopathy, creating waves of awareness. And we will see you next week, same time, same station. NissanCommunications.com. Please say hi to Amnon. Check out Computers 2K. What is it?
No.
Computers 2K now. And watch, if you're interested in technical stuff with your computers, you can ask him. He's the man. Thank you, Dr. Deepak and Dr. Ajay, for making your best effort to be on today. Thanks, everyone. We love you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. to noon. Health In with Debby Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. The Scope of Things with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 7 to 8 p.m. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 to 9 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays 8 to 9 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com.